You can't be mad at the parents on this one. You can't be mad at the parents on this one. You can't be mad at I'm sorry. You got to understand. They broke. They ain't got no money. No, they don't got no money. You can't be bad because he's selling the rings. He got no money. The money wasn't left to them. They trying to eat. They trying to eat.
But I'm going to go to Vanessa Bryant. Same offense. No disrespect to Vanessa Bryant, Kobe's widow. But Kobe's mother and father just sold his NBA championship ring. They just sold it. Why? Because they need capital to live. They're elders. They need some money. From what I've heard, Vanessa Bryant ain't giving them a dime. If you let us remaster the 25th anniversary Purple Rain album, if you let us remaster the 25th anniversary Purple Rain album, we're going to give you back all your publishing. That was nothing but a setup for a takeout. He never got the publishing back, or they might have gave it back to him, but soon thereafter, he ended up dead. And from what I last heard, that same company that murdered Prince, they now have most of his unpublished music. And you do know that Michael Jackson's estate sold a sizable portion of Michael Jackson's catalog, back to the company that murdered Michael Jackson. And on that Michael Jackson note, did you just see how his so-called son, the white boy Prince Michael, is not willing to give Mother Jackson, Michael Jackson's mother, needs some money, and Michael Jackson's fake Caucasian son won't give his black grandmother any of his so-called father's money. That's happening right now.
You for real?
Yes, the white boy won't give his Michael Jackson's mother no money. They in court right now. And this is why we got to stop the bunnies.
Man.
Yes. Yes.
That's disgusting.
It's correct. How you ain't going to take care of that man's mother? How you ain't going to take care of that man's mother? But I'm going to go to Vanessa Bryant. Same offense. No disrespect to Vanessa Bryant, Kobe's widow. But Kobe's mother and father just sold his NBA championship ring. They just sold it. Why? Because they need capital to live. They're elders. They need some money. From what I've heard, Vanessa Bryant ain't giving them a dime. Kobe Bryant left her almost $1 billion, and you mean to tell me that you don't have enough decency, enough respect to float Kobe Bryant's mother and father $1 million? Even if it's one time, Art. Even if it's one time. I don't really like y'all. I don't really mess with y'all. Y'all son told me not to be bothered with y'all, but because you are his parents, because he would have never existed without you, because if y'all don't give birth to Kobe Bryant, he never becomes my husband. I'm never in this financial position. Because of that, let me give you $1 million. Let me throw him $5 million. I'm not giving you no more, but I'm going to give you $5 million, but you can't come back again. Can we agree on that? Can we sign a non-disclosure? I'm going to give you this $5 million, but y'all can't come back. Fine. Give us the $5 million. She won't even throw them $1, bro. And then people get upset with me for being against interracial marriage. Listen. I'm not against white women. I'm not against red women, brown women, or yellow women. I am against the transfer of wealth out of the black community to white people who have taken enough from black America. Why are we marrying Asian women? Why are we giving our wealth to them? Why are we marrying white women? Why are we giving our wealth to them? We don't have enough as it is to rebuild black America. And you out here marrying women who you know going to take you to the cleaners when you no longer a celebrity, when you no longer got any money. Look at Michael Strahan. I just read an article the other day that Michael Strahan's white ex-wife, who already received $16 million, I believe was the amount, in the divorce settlement, plus a certain monthly allotment, she said that's not enough. She wants more money. And then I read some time back that RG3, the former NFL quarterback, he married a Snow-Bunny, divorced her. She took a sizable chunk of his wealth. She wants more money. Tiger Woods' girlfriend sued him last year for putting her out the house, and she was not even his wife. What are we doing? What are we doing? When you are no longer making that money, these white women leave you and they're going to take as much as they can get on their way out the door. But compare that to what black women get. Did you see what happened when Robert De Niro divorced the black woman, or when the black woman divorced Robert De Niro? She did not get half his money. Robert De Niro's ex-black wife did not get half of his money. You know what the courts gave her? $1 million a year. You're going to get $1 million a year until you get married. The minute you get married, you will no longer collect from your ex-husband. We don't benefit from interracial marriage. And here's my question, Art. If white people love us so much, if they got all this love for black people, why is the bedroom the only place they can show it? Why is behind closed doors the only time we see the love that white America professes for us? Why we don't see it in the classroom with our children? Why we don't see it in the courtroom when we're being sentenced to twice the amount of time in prison for the same offense as white people? Why we don't see it in the banks when we're looking for business loans and home loans? Why we don't see it in society where we're being murdered indiscriminately by white mass killers and white police? If white people love black people so much, why don't we see it anywhere else beyond the bedroom? We ain't nothing but a fetish. We ain't nothing but a pet. We ain't nothing but something for white folks to have a little bit of fun with. And when they done with you, they drop your ass off and take everything you got. It's not worth it. But we can't stop because the low self-esteem of black men, dictates that we get a white woman in order to feel better about ourselves and more equal to the white man.
And speaking of marrying an Asian woman, how you feel about Jeezy divorcing his wife?
I read something, and shout out to Jeezy. I hope he comes out on top and gets his daughter. Shout out to Jeezy. What I read was there was a clause in the prenup, and forgive me if I'm wrong on this, but if memory serves me correctly, there was a clause in the prenup that says she could get half or something to that effect if he engages in extramarital affair. If he commits adultery, it nullifies a part of the prenup that prevents her from taking half. And so she's making the argument, at least from what I'm hearing, she's making the argument that Jeezy cheated on her. And because he cheated on her, she should now have the right to go after most, if not all, of his assets. I hope that's not true, but that is the report. Like I said, I stand in solidarity with my brother Jeezy. I hope he comes out of that situation, but it's never a good thing to date outside your race or marry outside your race, because when it doesn't work out, do you want your black daughter being raised by white people who don't like black people? Do you want your black son being raised by Asians who don't like black people? Do you want your black children raised by Arabs or East Indians or Latinos who don't like black people? So you got to consider the fact that half of the marriages in America end in divorce. So if half the marriages end in divorce, mixed race marriages as well. So what are you going to do when your black son is being raised by a white mother who just married a Nazi as a husband? So now your black son is living in a house with a Nazi as his stepdad. These are things that you got to think about. I wish my brother Jeezy well. And I just think it's just another example as to why we need to stick with our own. I love black women. I'm for black women. I'm always going to defend black women. I don't care who don't like it. They are our natural God-given mates. They are who we are supposed to be with. We are not supposed to be mixing our seed because we are the chosen ones. And the chosen ones should only be reproducing with other chosen ones. It don't make us better than nobody, but we're different from everybody because we're the original man and woman, and we should not be mixing our seed outside of our kingdom.
Black man dating outside your race. Woo! Get him. Y'all got it bad in Seattle. Snow-Bunnies out here. have children with, who you date, who you're engaged to, who you cohabitate with, is a political decision. You are with the woman you are with, not merely for who she is, but for what she represents. Michael Jordan married that young white model, not because he loved her, but for what she represented to a blue, black, purple man who was picked on and bullied for his richly melanated skin his whole life. And despite the fact he was Michael Jordan, he saw in that woman an escape from his own color. And when that woman gives birth to his child, he will be happy that my baby ain't as black as I am.
Salvation.
The interracial marriage, the miscegenation, is nothing more than a self-inflicted eugenicidal campaign by black men to lighten up their DNA because they can't stand what their mothers look like. I would never condemn the white woman. She ain't done nothing to me. It ain't her fault. It's our fault for running away from our own women. She was good enough for you in slavery, but she ain't good enough for you now. She was good enough for you in Jim Crow, but she ain't good enough for you now. She was good enough to lick your wounds during the Black Power movement, but now she ain't good enough for you no more. Right. Really now? Up until 1957, 67, you weren't even allowed to marry a white woman in certain states. And ever since the Supreme Court overturned interracial marriage, black men been marrying outside of their race more than the men of every other race in America put together. So there's no way in hell you can convince me that it's purely about love, because if it is, explain to me, brother, why is it you seem to have jungle fever more than everybody else put together? It is a self. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I know some sisters got issues. Get on her damn nerves, she'll put your business in the street. I know this. I know my sister. You don't treat her right at the end of the year, she'll sell your social at tax time. I know she can get bucked, but so can you. And if she can put up with your ass, you can put up with hers. We in this together. We family. If one rise, we all rise. If one fall, we all fall. We got to get our cultural glue back that once held us together. The Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey, greatest black leader of the 19th century, the one who paved the way for every other leader after him, who didn't give him credit after they stole his ideas. He said, if the black men and women are not careful, he said, if you are not careful, you will drink in all the poison of Western civilization and you will die from the effects of it.
That's right.
The public school in the black community is an economic stimulus package to unemployed white folks. Right.
Right. That's right. That's right.
I know good black folk who would love to be and teach for America. I know a lot of brothers with bachelor's degrees looking for a job. They would love to go into the classroom and give back, but they don't get hired. Your oppressor will never give you the tools to overcome his control over you. And that's why our children are never schooled in the arts of power. Our children are never schooled in the arts of economic domination. Our children are never schooled in the arts of military takeover. The stuff that makes the world go round, your child ain't taught none of it. Right. They give him Anne Frank, Helen Keller, Christopher Columbus, and Star Spangled Banner, the Pledge of Allegiance, and President Obama. After the black boy is put on, the next thing is juvenile incarceration, juvenile detention center, special schools for the disciplinary kids, right? This is called pre-prison. We setting them up. In many states, the child can't even go back to school after they get out of juvenile placement. You got to go to twilight school. You can go a couple hours at night, and we might let you leave with a diploma. Only 1 out of every 4 black boys in America graduates from high school right now. That's it, 1 out of 4. Why do we need a new GED test? I'll tell you why. Because they had to come up with another strategy to intensify the failure of black males, to justify the subsequent incarceration. because they no longer need black people for the economic order of America to function. That's what the Mexican is for. Why you think all this talk about immigration on CNN today? I'm sitting in the hotel. Immigration, the Mexicans, the Latinos. You know what this is about? They said President Obama moved unilaterally without the new Congress. How could you just make a decision and let the immigrants in and you didn't even talk to the new Congress? I'll tell you why. Because the business of America is business. They tell Obama what to do. And the corporations of America said we need more workers and we don't want to hire the black ones, because if we hire the black ones, we got to pay them a certain wage because they know their rights. But if you let the Mexicans sneak over, we can pay them under the table all day long. The Mexican and Latino are here to take your place. Which is why you must resist the attempt to fall for the multicultural identity crisis.
Exactly.
They're trying to convince every African in America to put down your blackness and pick up the banner of multiculturalism. You need to form a coalition with Arabs and Asians and East Indians and Native Americans and Latinos and Mexicans, all of whom can't stand your black. But you need to form a coalition with other brown people and fight as a unit of multiculturals against the white power structure. Hell to the no. Because even though they are non-white folk, they are just as racist as white folk, and every one of them participated in our oppression one way or the other.
That's right.
Including your so-called Native Americans, who some of y'all love. Every black person got some Indian in their family. But did you know all 5 of the major tribes fought with the Confederacy against the Union? Did you know many of the Native American Indian tribes had slaves of their own? And are you aware that most of them that have casinos right now passed regulations that said no black person, whether you got Native in your blood or not, can claim any part of the inheritance on their reservation. And you want to be a Native American. Black folks, they trying to be something they not. You gonna find that you got an Irish grandmother and you want to paint your house green. Tell me I'm wrong. A black person finding out they got white blood is like a black person hitting the damn lottery. Guess what? I'm half Portuguese. They won't even let your ass on a Portuguese airplane. I'm not African. I'm not African American. I'm just an American. Well, I know my ancestors came from Africa, but I don't know where they come from. But I do know that my roots run through Louisiana. So what you trying to tell me, Ms. Raven Simone, is because your ass don't know your history, you cease to be what you really are. Everybody trying to run from blackness. That's why the United States Census, they gave us all these new designees on the census now. You can be multicultural, multiracial, biracial, Latino, Pacific East Islander, Southeast Asian, and all of them is black by another name.
That's it.
My ancestor Frederick Douglass was the product of a. Did anybody ever call him biracial in his 75 years of life? No. Hell no. My great-great-great-great-grandfather Stephen Bailey, his brother, the product of a. Did anybody ever call Grandpa Stephen biracial? Hell no. He was Negro like the rest of us, but now in 2014, we done got sophisticated. And nobody see any pride in being black no more, so we want to escape under other labels. Listen to me. You don't suffer for what you call yourself. You suffer for what you do not do for yourself. A lot of us think we can outname ourselves out of oppression. Well, I'm a Hebrew, I'm a Moor, I'm a Nawapian, I'm a this, I'm a that. I have no problem with none of the labels. But please don't think for one moment that the white man sees your ass any bit different because you got a new vowel in your name. We all in the same boat.
Yes, sir.
And we need to stop trying to run away from it because it ain't changing.
Same plane, bro.
We done been through every strategy we could potentially use to be accommodated, amalgamated, integrated into America. We done changed our names, we done changed our religion. Black women still changing their hair. Ain't nothing changed yet.
Houston's entourage located her body inside this hotel. So far, police and the coroner are refusing to offer details about what may have caused her tragic death. Exactly what happened inside the iconic Beverly Hilton remains a mystery. Paramedics raced to the 4th floor and found a lifeless Whitney Houston inside her hotel room bathtub. They tried in vain to resuscitate her with CPR.
At 3:55 p.m. this afternoon, Whitney Houston was pronounced dead at the Beverly Hilton Hotel.
The scene inside her room was chaotic. ABC has learned it appears members of Houston's entourage found her unresponsive body and called hotel security. But just about a half hour earlier, Houston's mother, Sissy, reportedly spoke to her daughter and said nothing was out of the ordinary. Houston's cousin, Dionne Warwick, also reportedly spoke to her over the phone earlier in the day and said everything seemed fine. Houston was staying at the hotel to attend music industry executive Clive Davis's annual pre-Grammy bash. Hours after her death, the party still went on.
Why is Whitney Houston dead? You think it's because of drugs? The coroner said Whitney Houston's body was in water so hot. The water was so hot that no human being could force themselves to remain submerged in it. That's the coroner. So if the coroner said Whitney Houston could not have stayed in that bathtub on her own free will, that means somebody helped her drown. And can somebody tell me why the Beverly Hills Hilton, one of the most popular hotels in the world, never reviewed the hallway video footage that would show us exactly who walked into the room? Who is that powerful that they can make the Beverly Hills Hilton eliminate the video footage? You know why Whitney Houston was murdered? Because she was going broke. And what do most popular artists do when they start going broke? They say, we got to take a look at 3 things: my royalties, my publishing, and my master recordings. And there was somebody whose name I'm not going to mention because I got to get home tonight. I got a school to open. All you got to do is ask yourself, who benefited the most from Whitney Houston being dead? Who was having a party that night? And even after Whitney Houston died, he did not cancel the party. The party went on in Whitney Houston's death. And even Shaka Khan. We are in the house of the Lord. But I must say, if I could marry me one queen mother, it would be Shaka Khan. Lord have mercy. 5'5", thick in the thighs. Forgive me, Lord. But it's something about that woman. I don't know what it is about Shaka Khan, brothers and sisters, but she makes my soul stir when I see that woman. But getting back to the point, we must stay focused, brothers. Lord help me. Shaka Khan said, who in their right mind continues with a party when your #1 artist just died upstairs in a tub? Y'all think Michael Jackson died from an overdose? Do you know Michael Jackson owned 50% of Sony Records? Michael Jackson owned the Beatles catalog, which made him 50% owner of Sony Records. Sony Records said, oh, no way. We can't let a Negro own half of this, even if he's the #1 selling artist of all time. So Michael Jackson's album Invincible comes out, and what does Sony do? They give him no promotion. They sabotage Invincible to make sure Michael Jackson goes into debt. And then they come back to Michael and say, you're in debt, Michael. You owe us a couple mil. Give us the Beatles music. Michael says, no. I'm going to have a concert, raise the money to pay y'all off. You're never getting the catalog. Michael Jackson made one mistake. He was living in Dubai with his brother. He decided to come back to the Staples Center to perform. Fatal mistake. Mike should have stayed over there until the concerts was done. He came back to LA. They sent Conrad the brother who murdered him, I forget his name, the black doctor, Conrad Murray. I think he did, what, 5 years? He's home. And he will be comfortable for the rest of his life for keeping his mouth shut. Prince! Why did they murder the Prince? You know why they murdered the Prince? Prince is one of the first artists after Sam Cooke to say, I want to own my own masters. And they said, Prince, we know you want your master. This is what we're going to do. If you let us remaster the 25th anniversary Purple Rain album, just let us remaster and republish Purple Rain, we're going to give you your masters. Right after Prince gets his masters, he's dead. You know why Prince is dead? Because they want the unpublished music that Prince wasn't going to give him. Oh yeah. Prince had more music that he never published than he published. Just like Tupac Shakur. Dead artists make more money. Jimi Hendrix, greatest guitarist of all time, died in a tub just like Whitney. What did we find out about Jimi Hendrix? His music manager was MI6, British intelligence. Jimi Hendrix wanted to finance the Black Panther Party with his monies. MI6 told the FBI they ordered Jimi Hendrix's death. Died the same way Whitney died. Why are all of our celebrities dying in hotel rooms by themselves? Sam Cooke, the first major artist to own his own music, close friends with Malcolm X and Muhammad Ali. Sam Cooke tells Martin Luther King and Malcolm X that the minute y'all start fighting and work together, I'm going to finance the whole civil rights movement. Malcolm was going to lead the North, Dr. King was going to lead the South, and J. Edgar Hoover had a heart attack. They said, you're going to kill Sam Cooke because he is not going to finance civil rights. Sam Cooke dies about 7 weeks before Malcolm. Never believe what the movie and the music and the news is telling you. The truth is always somewhere else, and the truth is always something else. R. Kelly don't get locked up until he hears some of his unpublished music on the radio that he never authorized. R. Kelly don't get locked up until Sony Records ends up with a part of his catalog that he never signed away. R. Kelly don't get locked up until he hears some of his unpublished music on the radio that he never authorized. R. Kelly don't get locked up until Sony Records ends up with a part of his catalog that he never signed away. The pedophilia was the cover. The real reason was the music.
So, with this financial plan, you can afford the payments on the new house and still save a bit each month. It's like you're financially new and improved.
I can't believe that in 2 weeks, that house will be ours.
Don't you think it's a little creepy, though, that we're spying on our house-to-be?
Nah.
Get down!
Whoa. Why is the roof opening?
I don't know.
Hello? Mommy's home! Come here.
The reason why they want African people to mix your seeds with non-Africans, especially Europeans, but non-Africans, number one, to reduce the amount of black people in this country who identify as black. Stay with me. I need you to understand, overstand, and understand. They are mixed racing black people out of existence. I'm going to say it again. They are mixed racing black people out of existence. I'm going to say it one more time. They are mixed racing black people out of existence. Now, some of you are going to say, Dr. Umar, you just said mixed race Africans are African. Yes, I did. But a lot of mixed race Africans don't identify as African. From 2000 to 2010, we saw the amount of Africans who call themselves mixed race on the U.S. Census grow exponentially. From 2000 until Barack Obama's election, from the year 2000 to mixed race Obama's election, we saw the amount of blacks who disidentify from being African American into being mixed race, multicultural, biracial. It grew up. So the more black people mix their seed, the smaller the amount of black people appear on paper. Listen to me. The more mixed race Africans identify as something other than African, the smaller our population appears to look in this country. I'll give you an example. According to the 2020 census, Black America is 14% of the country. According to the 2020 census. The 2000 census, we were 17%. The 2000 census, we were approximately 17% of America. Right now, they're saying we're 14% of America. My question to you, what happened to that 3% of African Americans? What happened to the 3% of African Americans who mysteriously disappeared from the 2000 census, from the 2010 census to the 2020 census? We went from 17% of America to 14%. What happened to the 3% of African Americans who disappeared between the 2010 census and the 2020 census? You know what happened to them? They became mixed racial and biracial. That's what happened to them. They became mixed racial and biracial. That's what happened to them. See, America is promoting interracial love to black people as a way of doing what? Statistically exterminating you on paper. Did y'all hear what I just said? Statistical extermination. Statistical extermination. Statistical. On paper, we're going to make it look like there's less black people in America than there really are, so we can justify less resources, so we can justify paying less attention to black people. They are committing statistical genocide against blacks. Because if I can get black people to accept the fact that they're dropping by 3% every census, if I can get black people to believe their numbers are shrinking by 3% every census, I can start exterminating black people physically and nobody will even question me because I've already gotten black people to buy into the idea that their numbers are shrinking by 3% every year. Our numbers are not shrinking. The problem is more and more black people are identifying as mixed race and biracial. And a lot of them don't even have a white parent. Stay with me. Listen to me. This is the multicultural trap. A lot of Africans in America are calling themselves biracial who don't even have a white parent or a non-African parent. So how is an African American getting away with calling themselves biracial when they don't even have a white parent? You know why? They have a white grandparent. They have a white grandparent. They are quadroon. They are identifying as quadroon. And then you have other Negroes who have one white great-grandparent. They are identifying as octoroon. So we got octoroon Negroes in America. We got Negroes with one white great-grandparent who are identifying as biracial. This is how much we hate ourselves. This is how much we hate ourselves. Stop saying African. Let me get rid of you. You don't come on my live and tell me what to do. Block. So you have black people with a white great-grandparent who are calling themselves biracial. They don't look no different than me. They look just like Dr. Umar, but when they fill out the census, they're putting biracial because they have a white great-grandparent. That's an octoroon. And then you have Negroes with a white grandparent. 25% Caucasian blood, and they think they're octoroon, and they're calling themselves biracial. And the white man laughs. The white man laughs. The white man says, good. Let them keep on disidentifying from their race on paper. Let them keep on disidentifying from their race on paper. Let them keep on disidentifying from their race on paper, so we can statistically exterminate them. We can render them a useless minority group. That's what they're doing. They're saying the reason we pay more attention to Hispanic is because there's more of them than you all. And then, but when you go into the Hispanic group, a lot of the so-called Hispanic are Spanish-speaking Africans who look just like Dr. Umar. Y'all see this game they running on us? They are dividing up the African population in America. They are dividing up the African population in America. They are dividing up the African population in America. Thank you for that, my brother. You just brought up a good point. You just brought up a good point. My brother just said, what about all the pretendians? My brother just said, what about all of the pretendians? My brother just said, what about all of the pretendians in the African American community who don't consider themselves black? They consider themselves Native American. Let me tell you what the pretendians are doing. They are boosting the numbers of Native Americans. And by boosting the numbers of Native Americans, by identifying as Native American, they are helping to eliminate our political power and strengthen the political power of the real Native Americans who do not accept or identify with the pretendian movement. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. So the pretendians are disidentifying from race. Black Latinos are disidentifying from their race. And then we got mixed race black people, as well as octoroons and quadroons with a white grandparent or white great-grandparent disidentifying from their race, making our numbers look smaller and smaller until one day the white man is going to say, we don't have any more identifiable African Americans. Did y'all hear what I just said? I'm going to repeat it. Did you hear what I just said? I'm going to repeat it. Did you hear what I just said? I'm going to repeat it. The day is going to come. If we keep on mixing our seed, the white man is going to say, it doesn't look like we have any more identifiable African people in America. Even though they got all these light-skinned Africans, even though they got all these mixed race Africans, even though they got all these light-skinned Africans, even though they got all these mixed race Africans, the white man going to say, I don't see any more identifiable Africans. And even though we got millions of mixed race Africans and light-skinned Africans, most of them don't identify as black. And since we don't have enough light-skinned Africans and mixed race Africans to identify as black, we might as well remove black from the census. We might as well remove black as a population. We might as well remove black as a community. We might as well stop talking about black people. Brothers and sisters, brothers and sisters, brothers and sisters, you have no idea the problems you are causing for us. You have no idea how you are supporting African genocide by not only mixing your seed, but disidentifying from your race. And let me also say, to Africans who don't accept mixed race Africans, you part of the problem too. And I'm going to tell you why. For Africans who don't accept mixed race Africans, you part of the problem too. And I'm going to tell you why. Because you are trying to force mixed race Africans to disidentify from their race. And by you not accepting your own black brothers and sisters by virtue of having a white parent, you automatically reduce our numbers even further. You are also part of the problem because you are not understanding, overstanding, and understanding that there is a statistical genocide at play on paper.